Episode 3 is set in the 70s, even though it actually takes place 12 hours after the events of Episode 2, where Wanda finds out she's pregnant. Wanda and Vision have called over a doctor to take a look at the baby, and according to the doctor, she's about 4 months along, which really takes Vision by surprise because, once again, this happened overnight. When he asked the doctor, how big should the child be if it's 12 hours old, the doctor just takes it as Vision being worried because he's going to be a new dad. Vision walks the doctor out, and he asks the doctor to keep the news about Wanda being pregnant to a hush. The doctor says that won't be an issue because he's actually going on vacation anyway. He then looks over and notices that his neighbor Herb is cutting into their brick wall. And when he brings it up to him, Herb just says, "Yeah, I guess I have," and continues to cut into the wall. Really weird behavior. When he walks back into the house, Wanda is even more pregnant than she was literally 5 minutes ago. So clearly things are working really fast and they need to get a nursery ready ASAP. Luckily, though, they have powers, and that's not really an issue. So while Wanda decorates the nursery, Vision is reading books on how to be a parent. She then experiences her first kick, which, according to the book, puts her at about 6 months. They then decide they should probably discuss names for the child, with Vision wanting Billy and Wanda wanting Timmy. Neither of them can agree, though, and they just go about their day. And as Vision is practicing putting diapers on a baby, Wanda starts experiencing Braxton Hicks contractions. Vision says, "Great. We'll get a chance to work on our breathing exercises." But the worse these contractions get, things in the house starts going on the fritz. Water starts shooting out of the faucet, the lights start flickering, the power actually goes out. It doesn't just go out in her place, though, it goes out in the entire neighborhood, and now she's worried about the people of Westview learning about their secret. But then Vision starts to think about the weird behavior with Mr. and Mrs. Hart, Herb, the next door neighbor, and he thinks that something's wrong. But then all of a sudden, the episode cuts back a few seconds, and instead of going through that entire speech about how something's wrong, Vision changes course, explaining that the two are just nervous about their new baby. All of a sudden, though, Wanda goes into labor and they both are freaking out a little bit. They use breathing exercises to calm down, but when they do so, it starts to rain inside, and that's because Wanda's water just broke. We do get a cutaway commercial for a soap made by the Hydra Company, and then it's back to Wanda's television show, where the water has stopped, they get out, and they start drying off using her powers. They realize, though, that this baby is coming really, really fast, and they need to get the doctor ASAP, but he's headed to Bermuda. So Vision needs to run over there and catch him before he leaves, leaving Wanda alone in the house by herself. She hears something in the nursery, but when she goes to examine it, she gets a knock at the door, and it's Geraldine. Now, in order to hide her pregnancy, she put on a jacket because no one notices weight gain when you're wearing a jacket. She came over to borrow a bucket because all the pipes in her house burst, and she doesn't know this, but it was, of course, because Wanda went into labor. When Wanda goes to get the bucket, though, she has another contraction, which actually changes her coat. Geraldine, though, hears this and tries to come in the kitchen, and Wanda has to act quickly, putting a bowl of fruit over her stomach to hide the pregnancy. And when Geraldine looks, she doesn't notice that she's pregnant, she just notices a delicious passion fruit. And you can't say no to passion fruit. The two head in the kitchen, and Wanda would like to get Geraldine out of there because, it's really hard to hide that you're pregnant when you're literally going into labor. But Geraldine starts talking about this job that she had with her boss, and all of a sudden, a live stork pops out of the nursery. Geraldine does go to leave, though, but Wanda, not wanting Geraldine to see the stork, ends up telling her to sit down. So she continues the story. And the more she talks, the more that Wanda is trying to get the stork to leave, but it's not working. After this long-winded story, Geraldine asks for office supplies to borrow and asks Wanda, "Do you guys keep me in your spare room?" which has been turned into the nursery. And when she goes in there, she sees the crib, she sees the stork, and then suddenly Wanda has another contraction, drops the vase that she was using to cover her stomach, and now it's obvious she's pregnant. And not only is she pregnant, but this baby is coming now. So Geraldine jumps into action trying to help her, but the worse the contractions are, things in the house are going nuts. Geraldine helps her with her breathing, and it doesn't take long for a healthy baby boy to arrive. And as soon as he comes out, that's when Vision has brought the doctor back. Vision had the doctor hop on his back, and he literally ran there as quick as he could, but he was still too late. Both Geraldine and the doctor give Vision and Wanda some time alone, and Wanda introduces Vision to his son. And since they're alone, Vision turns into his real self to say hello. But as they're sharing this moment, she goes into labor again because she was actually pregnant with twins. So the whole argument of what to name the baby isn't an issue. One's Tommy and the other's Billy. The doctor confirms that both babies are healthy, everything looks good, and then Vision once again walks him out. He tells him, "I really hope you're still able to make your trip," but the doctor says, "I don't think we'll get away after all. Small towns, they're just so hard to escape." It's a super weird statement, but the doctor just walks off. When he goes to walk back in the house, though, Vision sees both Herb and Agnes gossiping, so he goes over to see what they're talking about. But as he walks over to find out what they're discussing, inside, Geraldine and Wanda are looking down at both babies when Wanda says, "I'm a twin." I had a brother. His name was Pietro. She starts singing her children a lullaby, but then Geraldine says, he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And Wanda just stops dead in her tracks. She's actually crying, but she turns to Geraldine and says, what did you say? And Geraldine, realizing she screwed up, tries to play it off like she didn't say what she said, but Wanda heard what she heard. She then notices that Geraldine's wearing a necklace with the same emblem that was on the beekeeper and that was also on the toy helicopter. And Wanda asks her, what exactly is that symbol? You can tell that Geraldine is visibly getting nervous. And then finally, Wanda asks, who are you? But Geraldine is fighting to find the words. Outside, though, Agnes tells Vision that Geraldine just moved to town. She doesn't have a family. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have a home. Herb starts to say she came here because we're all, but he doesn't want to say it. Even though Vision prods him, saying, yeah, she came here because we're all what? What exactly are you trying to tell me? And Herb's just about to say it when Agnes yells at him, saying, stop it, shaking her head, implying, do not tell him. Agnes then goes back into Brady Bunch mode, leaving, and Herb does the same. But it has absolutely piqued Vision's interest. And when he walks back in as himself, and he asks Wanda, where's Geraldine? But Wanda just says she had to rush home. Although we find out where Geraldine actually went. Because Geraldine got shot out in a portal to the outskirts of Westview. And Westview is actually a military base that Wanda and Vision are currently living in. And when Geraldine gets shot out, she gets surrounded by a bunch of soldiers. Although, to look on the outskirts of Westview, you don't see the military base inside. It's like a hologram. Thank you so much for watching this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Like the video if you liked it. Hit thumbs down if you thought it sucked. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen, don't worry, it'll be up soon. And please be nice in the comments section. Nobody likes being told they suck, even if it's true. Oh, and sharing's caring.